On the KLM, Captain Van Zanten knows that he is now very close to the minimum visibility for takeoff. There's a good chance he's going to be trapped on the ground, forced to spend the night at Los Rodeos. Not an enticing prospect.
Christ, bloody weather. Class, give me takeoff speeds.
Yeah, okay, the V1 will be 120 knots and the VR is 135 knots. I'm preparing the frequencies, 139 and 138.7.
Lights on.
Affirmative. Strobes as well.
Of course, the people in the back have no idea about any of this. The way that everything is clicking into place.
That's it. Just one last hop and we'll be there, okay?
Kitty, is it going to be a long holiday?
Just like last year.
The only thing which might alert them is the fact that the view from their windows is now down to just a few dozen meters.
Where's the wing gone?
It's hidden by the fog.
What? A frog? A big green frog?
Don't be silly, just calm down.
Chewing gum to pop your ears.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
I wonder if Rubina will have a good time tonight.
Oh, are you worrying about her? Oh, she always manages to have a good time.
That's true.
At the end of the runway, the plane begins its 180-degree turn.
How many have taken off now? Feels like we've been texting for hours. I can't see anything. Do you think they can see any better out the front?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah? There's a lot of fog out there.
It's just after 5 p.m. The two aircraft are now face to face, a kilometer apart, unable to see each other in the fog.
I've left the body gear on to help you turn around. I've got 8 greens for the undercarriage.
Wipers on.
Lights are on.
I said wipers on.
All right, there you go.
Okay.
KLM 4805 is now ready for takeoff. We're waiting for ATC clearance.
KLM 4805, you're clear to the Papa Beacon. Climb to and maintain...
ATC clearance is the route the aircraft intends to take once it's left Los Rodeos. But it's not permission to take off. That has to be obtained separately.
Las Palmas VOR.
Roger, sir. We're cleared to the Papa Beacon, flight level 90. Right turn out 040 until intercepting the 325. We're
going.
No! Stand by for takeoff, I will call you.
And we're still taxiing down the runway. Pan Am 1736.
Pan Am 1736, report runway clear.
Okay, we'll report when we're clear.
Thank you, 1736.
He asked us, were we off the runway? And I responded back, negative. We are still on the runway, but we will report clear of the runway. That was the last thing I said over the radio.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, he's anxious, isn't he? Yeah, and now he's in a rush.
We were only taxiing at 3 miles an hour. Nothing in my mind would have even given me the thought that he was taking off.
Isn't it clear then?
What do you say?
Isn't it clear that Pan Am?
Oh, yes.
The die is cast. With every second, the KLM is going faster and faster. At the same moment, the Pan Am reaches the number 4 exit and begins to turn off the runway.
God damn, that son of a bitch is coming straight at us!
When he hit us, I didn't think he'd done us that much damage because the airplane very quickly shuddered.
The first thing was this huge, loud noise, and the only thing I could liken it to is if each molecule of air exploded. That's the way I thought of it afterwards. It just was so loud.
At first, I thought they had gotten to us the bomb, and it came up and slammed down. The lights went out and flames came through. I had put my hands over my face and said, Lord, today I'll see you.
The minute I opened my eyes, I looked in the cabin and everything was on fire.
All the windows were going in the cockpit. I looked out to the right wing was on fire. I looked back to the left. We had 28 people in the upstairs lounge. The lounge was no longer on the airplane. It was just a big hole there. And I could see all the way to the tail of the airplane, just like someone had taken a big knife and cut the top off.
People were just sitting in their seats. They weren't moving. I don't know why.
Yeah, in normal circumstances, you're supposed to wait for a command, but it was clear you didn't need to wait for a command in this situation.
There was fire, and I shouted to Suzanne, fire on the wing.
She ran back to my exit
and saw Suzanne standing there, getting ready to open the door, and just saw the door crumple like cheap tinfoil. And I thought, oh my God, we're trapped.
I was staring at the door, and I yelled, unfasten your seatbelts, remove your shoes, leave everything, come this way. And as I stared at the door, a jagged hole seemed to open up in the roof over the door.
And the next thing I knew, I was outside that. I don't know how I got out there.
Joan was standing there yelling, Suzanne, take my hand.
And I was standing above the level of the door on fuselage rubble pieces. And I leaned down and said to Suzanne, give me your hand.
She grabbed me out with one hand. I mean, I don't know how she lifted me.
And then we were standing up on top of almost on top of this airplane. And I thought, it's really a long ways down. If we jump, we're going to break our legs.
We were on debris. It was like ice floes, big chunks of fuselage kind of moving all around.
The engines were starting to disintegrate already. We could hear them disintegrating and throwing metal.
I lost Joan's hand very quickly, so I jumped. And it seemed like the leap from a second-story building.
The captain, he elected to jump down in the first-class section of the airplane. And when he hit the first-class floor, the floor collapsed and he fell on down into the cargo area. It was so hot that the oxygen balls exploded and burned him very badly, as a matter of fact.
It was a survival mode that kicked in, and it was just get out of that airplane. I didn't stop to think about how it happened.
I went to where the door would have been, and I left my wife seated. And then it came to me, what am I doing? Where's my wife? So I turned around, and she was coming, and I said, I will jump and try and break your fall.
My husband was sitting to my right, and I undid his seatbelt and kind of pushed him out of his seat to get him moving. And we headed for the door that was closest to us. And it was engulfed in flames, and there was no way to exit that way. I looked over, and at some point, someone had opened the other door, which was amazing to me. And I just yelled over here and headed toward the door on the other side, which was, again, the wing door.
In the haste to get out of the burning plane, Karen became separated from her husband. He died in the flames.
I immediately thought it was total destruction. It never dawned on me that I would make it. But I thought, hey, do something. Don't just sit there, do something. I just went over the seat backs, and I'm not that athletic really, but I went over 3 rows of seats. One man was sitting there looking like I need help, but I couldn't help him.
When KLM hit us, all communication stopped. The tower called and couldn't get any response from either the KLM or ourselves. There was an airplane in the holding pattern right above Tenerife. Called the tower and said, I see smoke and wreckage on your runway.
Rodeos approach Sterling 105. We're downwind from runway 30 and something's glowing on the field. Looks like a fire. Are you aware of any fire?
Shit, this can't be true! Come on, come on! Come on, come on!